the law is always catching up. And what could be interesting for some of you is, do you actually want to work with lawyers or policymakers in advising them and consulting them in understanding actually what is the technology growth and what are the positives and negatives of future laws can be created to prevent things like this, prevent robots taking over the world, to prevent AI becoming malignant or becoming bad. And a lot of this is second is for a lot of you who are going to go and work at technology companies or create your own companies, is how do you create these tools responsibly? How do you create AI systems which are ethical, which are honest, which are truthful, etc. So I'm going to stop here and we are going to go back to the previous slide. I just want to ensure that everyone says, okay. To see from here, and you can
Guys.
keep on adding all of your um, responses there. We can always go back to them at the end. Okay, so next is, I know that the presentation is called The Evolving Nature of Work. One of the points that I want to leave you with is we always talk about the future, and we talk about the future as if it's something that'll happen in 5 years, happen in 10 years, 20 years. But you may have noticed that in the last 10 years, a lot of futuristic things are happening in the moment. So what I want a key takeaway for today is that realizing that we're living through these changing times and we're living through the future at the moment. And while it may seem scary, it is also very exciting. And if you look at, let's say, almost 3,500 years or 500 years, 5,000 years of human recorded history, what you will see is we had to go through a lot of discoveries and documentation to get to this point. So when you look at what was the Iron Age and the Bronze Age, that in a sense lasted for over 1,000 years. So at that point, we didn't have any sophisticated digital technology. The technologies was metal and fire and wheels, etc. And then from that, we moved into more larger civilizations, etc. And as we moved further and further out, you'll notice that there's this little small orange and yellow line here at the end. And this is the last 100 years or so. So everything that you see from steam engines to electricity to aircrafts being invented to then moving into the internet and then personal computers and laptops and phones and then now AI and robotics has happened only in the last 100 years. Uh, Whereas the other previous years, there was so much more foundational things that were happening for us as a civilization. We were figuring out how to use metal, we were figuring out how to use and create wheels to using fire, etc. So the point that I'm trying to make is that as we move through time and as we move through our history, the more technology advances, um, uh, the rate of change also increases. So and as the rate of change increases, so as things become uh, and evolve faster, the gap between the technological advancements decreases. So what's happening is, let's say between the internet being invented in the late 80s and 90s to it becoming mass, it took almost 20 years. Um, that was in around 2010-ish when smartphones became popular. But then when you move forward, the from smartphones becoming popular to now everyone being on social media, everyone having email access, everyone even having access to some sort of an AI tool, that's taken in some cases less than a year, sometimes few months. So as we evolve through technology, the gap between new and more advanced technologies becomes much more smaller. But when that happens, it leads to this point, is where things become more interconnected. We see that the world is a lot more smaller. I'm sitting here in Bangkok, you're in different parts in Indonesia, and we are talking live. You're getting instant updates about what's happening in US or what's happening in UK, what's happening in Africa, just from your phone. You can send money instantly across the world. So it's become a lot more interconnected and much more faster, but it also becomes much more complex as a world because now a billion people are, of course, giving their ideas, they're giving their opinions, they're giving their aspirations out there, and they're talking. So what this means for you as students and someone who's entering the workforce and who will create things in the new workforce is one, there is a lot of opportunity available, and it's not limited to just your city, your country. But second, it also means that there are a lot more challenges, there are a lot more problems. But for every problem that can be solved, that helps humanity at large. So how can you be problem solvers in this age of AI and robotics is the second message I would leave you with, is don't just look at, hey, will someone give me a job and where will I work? Is can you look at identifying problems and being entrepreneurial in your pursuit and use AI and robotics tools for that. So I'm going to do a quick quiz about this, about our how the future is now, and you can respond within the chat. I just want to know which year was different products or services launched. So which year was not the latest model of the iPhone, but which year was the iPhone launched? So let's take a quick look, put it in the chat, just type out your answers. And I would say not to Google it, but I'm sure you may also be searching. So 2007 is one of the answers. Someone says 2013. Uh, let's see how far out. 2023. I'm sure it was in 2023. iPhones have been around for a long time. The first iPhone, the very first one. So the very first one is actually 2007. So it's been 19 years. I'm assuming some of you are that age group, 19, 20. So you were just born or you were a couple of years old when the first iPhone was launched. Let's take a look at next is Instagram. Do you know when Instagram was launched? Was it before the iPhone? Probably, right? Or was it after the iPhone? So now we moved into when was Instagram launched? Think about it. Where could it have been? And if you think about it logically, it makes sense. So 2010 is for you to use Instagram, you needed a smartphone because the whole idea was you take pictures from your phone and you upload it instantly. And for that, you need, of course, an internet connection. So you can see that how one technology leads into another technology. You need to have the internet and personal computers to be able to build smartphones. And then once you had smartphones, then you could build applications and different softwares. When was OpenAI launched? 21, so 2019, 2020, 2015. So I see a lot of different variations. 2021 and 22 definitely makes sense because that's when ChatGPT became extremely popular. We were going through the pandemic at that time. So let's take a look at the actual answer. It's 2015, so some of you are correct. And that's very interesting, is that you may think that ChatGPT was just launched 3 or 4 years ago, but in a sense, to be able to build a very complicated AI or robotics tool which is ready for production, which is ready for the masses, takes a lot of research and testing. So the guys at OpenAI spent almost 6 to 7 years researching, testing, perfecting their tools before putting it out. And even when they put it out, it wasn't perfect. Even now, it's not perfect. So it's constantly improving and being iterative. And that's one other important thing is that really sophisticated technology takes time and you need to invest research and learning into it. And second is you need to iterate. the first version of anything that you create will actually not be good. Uh, uh, it's never the case. But then you've got to have that mindset of constantly learning from that data and the feedback and then improving it. And I'm sure a lot of you who are studying engineering um, hear that on a constant time. Okay, so the next activity is we're going to look at, is this AI or is this not AI? So you've got to give me a scale of 0 to 10. So 0 means it's not AI, 10 means it's AI. If you think it is somewhat AI, you could give it a number in between. So you could say this is 5. If you think it's 50% AI and 50% not AI. If you think it's higher on AI, you can give 6, 7. If you think it's very low, give 1 or 2. So you can just put the number there in the chat, and I'm going to show you some different tools. And I want you to think about, could this be AI? And if this is AI, why is it? If this is not AI, why is it not AI? Yeah. So uh, sorry, let me rephrase that. Let's not do 0 to 10. Let's do 0 to 100 as a scale. So you can also give part numbers. You can give 75, 65, etc. So really up to you, where it's definitely AI or it's definitely not AI. Okay, so Spotify, I'm sure most of you use Spotify in some way to listen to podcasts or music or the news, etc. Uh, is this AI? So we're not looking at which year it was founded. We're looking at, I'll go to the previous slide, is you're going to guess or use your knowledge, is this AI or not? Some things, if it's pure AI, it'll be 100%. Um, if it is partly AI, then you can give a scale anywhere between 1 to 99. And if it's definitely not AI, like for example, um, my spectacles here are definitely not AI. They're just a piece of metal and glass. So this will give 0. Um, but then if I show you my phone, then you'll be like, okay, this is maybe has some AI, but not 100% AI. So I would say 75, 80%. I would assume that to be. So something for you to think about now. Let's go to the next tool and you can put in the number in the chat. So Spotify, is this AI? So okay, 67%, very precise number that's coming in here. If you can also give uh, a one-line description if someone wants to add that, why do you think it's that number? I want other students to also respond. Take a few seconds to think about it if you want to. Is it 50% AI? Is it 80%? Is it 0? Is it 1%? So I'm seeing everyone is seeming to give in the 50 to 70 range. Someone gave 80. Now, in this whole activity, there's no right or wrong answer because a lot of times we don't know what's actually in the code, but we can give the answer based on our experience. So I would say my assumption, based on my research, but also using Spotify on a regular basis, I think it's somewhere around 60, 60 to 65. I could be completely wrong in that, or 65 to 70. And the reason for that is one, it creates playlists based on your taste. It recommends new podcasts, music, etc. So definitely there is some components of AI or learning on its own. Now, is it 100% AI? Definitely it's not 100% AI, but it's somewhere in between. Let's go to the next one. A refrigerator. So a fridge that you use at home or that you see in shops or restaurants. Is that AI? Is that not AI? So someone saying 30, 37. So some people are assuming that there is still some sort of AI. What if it was a fridge from the 1980s that you see in your grandparents' house? Would that have AI? Okay, so then there will probably be 0. So I think that's an important counter question that you should ask. Uh, is when is this fridge from? What model is it? Because some fridges definitely have some smart technology and AI in it, where fridges can detect what's in it. You can change the temperature, regulate their settings, etc., based on what the weather conditions are inside and outside, what you've stored, how much of things have you stored, etc. And some of them definitely have no AI. Like the fridge that I have at my house definitely has no AI. It just on and off. That's what it is. But some of them do have. Let's look at the next one. Siri, is it 100%? Is it 50%? Is it zero? I'd say yes. Siri now is definitely, early it was more like a chatbot, which was very clunky, like about 10, 15 years ago, but now definitely it has very different AI tools built into it. So it could be 100% or it could be almost close to 100%. A Nintendo Switch for any of the gamers out there. So 50%, 40%, people are saying 10, 45. Okay, so definitely less than 50% that everyone is saying. So looks like Switch is not that smart. My guess and my understanding of the Nintendo Switch is, I would say, in at least the versions that I've seen, is probably zero because it doesn't have anything smart in it. Like, of course, it is a digital device, but it doesn't make any decisions on it. It's not logging in any sort of the data. Um, uh, uh, it is, of course, you load a game and you play the game, but there's no decision making and training model, etc., that is involved in. Uh, uh, as far as my knowledge is concerned, I could be wrong there, but I think it is probably like 0 to 10, uh, uh, or probably zero. Tesla car. So I'm specifically looking not just car in general, but a car from Tesla. So someone says 100%, 97%. Okay, so we're going pretty high on this one. Uh, Everyone's in the 90s range except for someone who said 60 or 70. And I like this as a range. It shows that all of you are thinking about um, it does have a because it has driving. It has you can chat and you can have a conversation with it. It has very different sensors to understand the road, the weather conditions, the lighting, etc. But it is not 100% AI. It can't drive, can't move and navigate on its own or make decisions. You still need the human to interface. So I would say this is somewhere around 50 to 60% AI at the moment, at least the models that are out there. But it may become much more advanced and closer to that 80, 90% that most people have mentioned here. So thank you, everyone, for participating in this another interactive activity. Um, Now, what going back to the previous point about how technological advancement is happening a lot more. We are seeing AI and robotic tools like these in our life and around us, very easily available. 10 years ago, we didn't even think or imagine this, but now this is every day for us. So what this means is that we are seeing a shift in how work happens, how industries and how countries respond to that. So there was a survey done by the World Economic Forum. They do these reports on a regular basis, and there was a report they published last year, which was called the Future of Jobs Report for 2025. And they interviewed employers and companies, asking them what percentage of their work or workforce uh, do you feel that will get transformed and changed because of AI or robotics and different energy sources, and what will contribute to the transition. So they said that about AI will contribute to about 86% of the changes happening globally, uh, and we're seeing that. Robotics and autonomous systems, so automatic systems of different kinds, will affect about 58% of the jobs. I'm glad that someone mentioned about energy before, and green fuels, etc. So about 41% of the changes will happen around energy. So creating new energy forms, not just using fossil fuels and oil and coal, using solar power, hydropower, nuclear power, etc. But also, it's not just creating and generating energy, but also storing and distributing that. Is how do you send energy across long distances? How do you store it for some time? And then we're also seeing changes around, quantum computing and encryption, keeping safe and electricals, as well as semiconductors and computing technology. So we're going to see changes across, but this is what is expected. Of course, don't take these numbers to be final, because this is just a survey. The other thing that we're also seeing is what skills are becoming important. And of course, a lot of you are coming from an engineering and technology background. What I want to share is that it's never going to be just pure technology skills. It's always going to be a combination of skills. And that's what I learned when I went to university, and to the last 15, 16 years of working is, of course, learning about AI and big data and networks and cybersecurity are extremely important. But getting technologically literate. So that means understanding the different technologies, understanding how to have a conversation about them, understanding how to use it effectively is important. And how you can do that is if you learn beyond what's just in your curriculum and in your classroom. So whatever lessons that you're giving and learning, you've got to go beyond that and explore and be curious about it. Then the other is creative thinking. And creativity is not just about art and music, or dance and drama. Creativity could be writing an innovative line of code. It could be designing an experiment in math or physics or science. It could be thinking about a problem in a completely different way. So creative thinking is really, really broad and goes across different subjects. The fifth one is resilience. So, as a lot of you pointed out, and as we're very acutely aware, the world is getting a bit more complex. It's getting a bit more challenging. You're not just learning while you're in school or university, you're learning on an ongoing basis. And I'm sure a lot of your professors and lecturers also share that as how they're learning things. Leadership and social influence. So going online, using, of course, offline leadership, but also uh, creating your own persona online is becoming more important. Like, that's how you meet different people. That's how you network. That's how you create your profile. So let's say it could be on LinkedIn, it could be on social media. Is that's how you find other opportunities. It could be work, it could be entrepreneurship, so on and so forth. Talent management, a simple way is how do you work with other people? How do you collaborate with them? How do you inspire them? Analytical thinking. So that's similar to creative thinking, but in this, you're probably also using a bit more logic. In creative thinking, you may not always look at logic. You may look at, hey, how do I go out of the box? But in analytical, it could be more what you would do as computational thinking, or as what you would do as engineers, and then, of course, caring about the environment. So the same report also shared these top 10 skills that would be important by 2030, which is just 4 years away. And we're seeing that is becoming more and more important. Now, taking a little bit of a turn is what actually makes us human. So we're talking about, of course, AI and robotics, but ultimately all of AI and all of robotics was created by us humans. And we were able to create this because of the scientific research and the thousands of years of history and knowledge that we have put together. But there were certain things that we do as humans which make us uniquely placed to be able to invent new things like internet, like personal computers, like vehicles, or something as simple as a bicycle, or understanding how do you convert sand to glass. So we as humans like to play. So we like to tinker, we like to experiment. We see something, we're like, okay, what if I push that? What if I touch this? What happens? So we ask these what if questions and we try something out. We of course curious and we want to explore. Previous generations have explored the world. They travel long distances on foot or in caravans or in ships to find and discover new things. We also imagine, we visualize and we think and we dream. Um, and the fourth one is we, of course, a lot of you mentioned that you're concerned about the world. That's because you have empathy. That's why because you care about other humans and you've got kindness. So all of these emotions are what also makes us human. And then all of this leads us to create things. It could be in the physical world, it could be in the software world. And we're also very resilient. We learn from our mistakes, we learn from failures, and we work together as a community. So this is what makes us human. And what I'm trying to say is that in this evolving nature of work, with AI and robotics, we must not forget what our human skills are because we got to this place in time as a civilization because of our human skills. And we will continue to move forward as long as we use and recognize our human skills. Because if we don't, then replacement becomes very easy. Talking about will I get replaced by AI or robots? There are some things that AI and robots won't be able to do. They may not be able to be empathetic. They may not be able to dream and imagine and wonder. Um, you could program them to be curious and ask questions, but are they being genuinely curious? No. Are they going to be experimenting and trying different things on their own because they're curious? No. So as long as we refine and keep using our human skills and combine that with the tools that we have, we will continue to be successful and you won't have to be fearful of being replaced. The other important part is that a lot of inspiration that comes from the world of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, mathematics, but also from coding and programming, comes from nature. So I'm going to give you some examples of that. Uh, I'm sure a lot of you have used Velcro from your shoes or on your jackets or on your backpack. This discovery happened because of one of the inventors walking his dog on a hike and saw that a lot of some of these plants and their seeds got stuck on his dog. And he was like curious about it. Then he got some of the dog. He had a magnifying glass, looked at it and saw that there were these like prickly bits, and there was like a hook. And then figure out, actually better than buttons and safety pins and zips, maybe there's a different way of fastening things. And that ended up he began creating Velcro, where you've got two sets of the Velcro. One is hooks and one is the soft side. And you can always feel it. You can see that one is, if you hold against it, one is quite rough and one is very smooth. And then when you put them together, it sort of latches on its together. So Velcro, the inspiration was burdock burrs. Uh, Only time I say where mosquitoes have been maybe good to us is where we have a new kind of surgical needles, which were inspired by the mosquito sting. So what researchers discovered is that when mosquitoes bite, you don't actually feel their bite. After they've bitten you, one is that the mosquito sting, when the mosquito bites, it just doesn't just put its sting in, it's also vibrating at a little bit of a frequency. So you don't feel it. And second is also releases a little bit of an enzyme, which makes the area numb. So doctors and researchers are developing new surgical needles, which you feel lesser pain during any surgical treatment. Bullet trains. So you may have used the whoosh in Indonesia. And when it comes to this, you'll realize that a lot of them don't make too much noise. But the early versions uh, were moving a lot, there was a lot of vibration, as well as it made a lot of sound, especially when it went through tunnels or residential areas. So researchers are figuring out how do you minimize that? And then they began looking at different things and they realized that kingfishers, when they dive into the water, there is no splash or there's very minimal splash, just some vibrations. Uh, and the more they understood that, they realized that because of the structure of the body of the kingfisher, and especially the beak, and it goes beak first, it's so aerodynamic that it creates less vibrations. So that's why the high-speed trains have a much longer nozzle or a nose because of that. And you see that it looks way more smoother and aerodynamic, way more than even aircrafts, because now you're going on the ground. You've got a lot more density here. Aircraft wings, of course, inspired by numerous different birds in terms of the wings sweep in terms of how they're designed, but also the wings being flexible. The wings are not static. If you when you've been on the flight, you may have noticed that sometimes the wings move a bit, and they've been designed to be that way, so they don't actually snap. We had to look at birds flying to understand that wings can't be straight; they have to be slightly curved to give you the right combination of lift and drag. Of course, we had to look at human arms to understand how do you create robotic arms. So different joints, different movements, and that's why robotic arms. You must have heard they have different degrees of freedom, and that's the different movement. So I've got the wrist movement, I've got the elbow, I've got all of my shoulder joints, but also holding different tools around. And lastly, for us to be able to understand and create AI and machine learning, we had to understand the human brain. Among other things, we had to, of course, understand um, uh, maths and how learning happens, etc., and create models. But we had to understand our own brains to be able to do that. So now, um, I want you to think about what does this mean for you in the evolving era of work. So take 30 seconds, and I want you to put this on the chat. Uh, is what does this actually mean for you? How are you going to use this information uh, at the moment to apply to your current studies, but also figuring out what you want to do in terms of work? So let's take 30 seconds, think about it, and then put it on the chat. Okay. Does anyone want to answer? What do you think that this means in the for you? Yeah, technology and AI will definitely be a companion, and that's a very important message. Like you basically summarize a lot of what I was saying is we want it to be a companion. You don't want to be slaves to it. You want to be able to use it effectively together. So learning from nature. Anyone else? Let's get two, three more responses. Yeah, let us think about it. I'm also looking at the time, so I want to ensure that we're able to wrap up everything. Is of course, learn from nature, use AI and technology as a companion, but also lead further into our humanity. Um, and remembering that, as humans, we've created these tools, okay? And we've used these tools to further civilization and humanity. So in the age of AI robotics, the same. Uh, and next, I want to also now delve into what's new in the world of robotics and AI. Day to day, I'm constantly seeing what's happening, uh, new tools that are being created, and new opportunities that you have for yourself. So, where could you be placing yourself in the next few years as you graduate? So, one important thing is when you think about robotics, you're always thinking about humanoid robots like look like us, which have arms, which have a head, which can walk around, or you think about robots that look like animal, mostly like a dog. So all robots are not going to be like that. That's just one example of a robot. But what we see is that we see robots of all different shapes, sizes, etc. And that's going to be determined by the purpose of that robot. You know, are these robots for cleaning? Are they for organizing? Are they for manufacturing, etc.? So we need to think more broadly about what a robot could look like. And that's going to be based on the objective it has been designed for. Similarly, AI is right now, the AI that all of us are exposed to is generative AI, which is mostly chat based, so large language models or LLMs. And of course, generative AI is also when you generate text, images, videos, and sound. But we'll see AI which will go beyond that. It'll get integrated into robotics, it'll get integrated into hardware, etc. So let's explore what's happening in the world of AI and robotics. So as I said, it won't just be humanoids and dogs. We'll see many more. I'm going to play a quick video of fully automated warehouse and see the different kinds of robots that a lot of students who work with Vex kits are designing things like this. So I'm going to play this video. So what you see here is, of course, this is for warehousing. So it's the robots are working together, fully automatic. They are organizing things in shelves. They can go to different heights. They can also sort things based on color, size, and different products, etc. Um, the other interesting thing that's happening is robots helping in surgery. So in this image, you'll see that the doctor is actually sitting here, and she's being able to operate these various different robotic arms, which are doing the surgery. The reason why she's using this system is she can get a much more zoomed in view of the part of the body where the surgery is being performed and have a lot more precision and control. Now, some of these tools are also being used for remote surgery. So that means that the doctor and the patient will not actually be in the same room. They may not even be in the same city or the same country at times. And especially when it comes to um, conflict zones, when it comes to issues with someone not having access to the best medical or healthcare, you could have a doctor in one country helping somewhere else, or it could be remote areas. It could be like you're in far off island or the mountainous region where you may not have the best hospital and the equipment available. Maybe robotic surgery and diagnostics could help. We also see things like nanobots. So the robots don't have to be always big. They could be extremely small, and they could be a single use. So we're seeing that for things like getting medicine and more targeted medicines. When you have medicine right now, it affects your entire body because it's just neurochemical reactions. So what we're looking at is, can there be something bit more targeted? Can it also be for more targeted surgery sometimes? But nanobots are not just for healthcare. They could be used in different things. It could be used for data sensing. It could be for um, various different applications. We're also seeing big applications in agriculture. And this is a combination of using robots and drones. I recently was talking to someone who is setting up various different farms which have robots and drones having. So everything from watering the fields to understanding are they growing and ripening as they should be, but they're also able to have cameras on them so you can detect if there's any pests affecting those plants, and then actually going and sometimes even harvesting them. So there's a whole range of things that could be done, especially when you have very large fields of crops growing. It can also be used for firefighting. So we've seen early experiments of that. You'll see that these are drones being used, and these drones, of course, you have these pipes connected because that's how you'll get the water supply. Some drones could have a tank, but that tank of water could be limited. So you may still have them connected to some sort of tank, and that tank could be a tanker or it could be a piping source. The reason why I'm sharing all of these examples is I want all of you to also think about is where does your interest lie? You know, you won't be just purely interested in automation or electrical engineering or Python or C++. You want to use this knowledge somewhere else. So think about what else in the world interests you and start creating that combination. Maybe you love food and agriculture. Maybe you love traveling. Maybe you love, saving people and taking care of people. So how do you intersect and how do you create that? And I'm giving you some ideas to inspire you with that. We're also seeing, of course, autonomous cars. So we spoke about Tesla previously, but this is a way more, which is fully autonomous. So you could say that this one is 100% AI. I actually was fortunate enough to take a ride in one of them some time ago, and I'm going to play a video of that. And it's fascinating the way the technology works, where you've got numerous different sensors, and of course, there's no driver. It's just a computer and AI which is driving. So let's take a quick look at that. So you'll see that the car drives on its own. It drives at slow and fast speeds in an actual environment with other human drivers there. So it's navigating on its own. It drives in different weather conditions. It also drives at night. So that's also quite interesting. So if you're interested in sensors and lasers, but also mobility, how do you get people from one place to the other? This is once again a fascinating space to work in. The other thing is now how do these drones navigate themselves, or how does this self driving car navigate itself? And there's a space called physical AI or spatial AI, is for AI to understand the physical world, to understand the 3D space, is understand height, understand distances, understand different objects, understand if this is a human or if this is not human, or these are animals, how do you take care of them? And researching and understanding that is also becoming very, very important. So getting the data around it, training around it. One very interesting is how many of you have played Pokemon Go? Anyone here who played Pokemon Go? Yeah, I can see some hands up. So what's going to be very interesting is that this company in the screenshot that I shared, called Niantic Labs, they also had something called Niantic Spatial. So Niantic Labs was who created Pokemon Go, but they also created Niantic Spatial. So one thing that all of us didn't realize when we were playing Pokemon Go is that we were running around the city trying to catch all the Pokemons. But what you were doing actually is you were actually helping them map the world. So as you moved around on the different streets and different buildings, etc., you help in some ways training on what the different streets look like, routes look like, etc. And the same company has now created a tool called Niantic Spatial, and you can explore that, which is helping build a model of the world to understand what the 3D space is. The other area that you would also see is understanding and training movement. So there's another company, what they are doing is day-to-day movement, things like washing dishes or sewing or cooking food. They are trying to record that. So then different robot systems can be trained on that precision for it. So that's quickly about what's happening in this area of AI and robotics. Lastly, I'm going to start moving to the summary. Is we are living in an era of a lot of opportunities. So keep on exploring, keep on learning, keeping on reaching out to other people. You're living in a globally connected world. So reach out to people that you find interesting, email them, find their contact on social media, message them on LinkedIn if you want an internship, if you want to learn from them, if you want to just talk to them. A lot of people are very, very open to sharing their knowledge and but also their community with others. Um, Lastly is how we at Vex Robotics can assist and help you is a couple of ways. One, I would say, is we help with a lot of open-ended learning around engineering and AI. So in our competitions, we go through the engineering design process where you would work with a team in identifying a problem, to brainstorm different designs and prototypes, to select the best solutions, to build it, to test it, and to compete. And how you do that is through our competitions. So we run uh, VEX competitions across different age groups. We run VEX University competitions where we have over 200 universities from about 60 different countries take part. It's a 1 year competition where US students will get a problem statement, and then you've got to work together in building a robot, in programming it, and then testing it, and then, of course, competing with students from all around the world. And the problem statement changes every year in May. So currently, the former competition is going on. In May 2026, a new competition and problem statement and series of challenges will be announced. So if any of you are interested, please contact us. I'm going to leave my contact details. My colleagues, David and Enda, also on this call. They will also put their contact details on the chat. And of course, the teams at the university are also in contact with us, and we love for you to participate in the VEX University competition in the coming year. The VEX University competition or the VEX competition is the world's largest robotics competition. We've been in the Guinness Book of World Records 3 times now, and it's normally played on a large field. And on the field, normally there are 4 different robots. These 4 robots are not built by you. The 2 robots will be built by you as a VEX University team, and 2 robots will be built by another university. And then you are then working and competing together. But the 2 robots that you build could be different because you want them to, be purpose-built for different functions. So you'll have a red alliance and a blue alliance, and you're working and doing everyday tasks and challenges. And you normally have a timer, so you have a few minutes to complete the task. The task can be completed in 2 ways. One is driver control, so you can drive the robot. But the second one is also autonomous, where you don't touch the robot. The robots will drive on their own using programming and different sensors. You can use various different sensors, including an AI vision sensor. So it's a very, very exciting competition. We'd love for you to be involved in that, and we'd love to support you in that too. And that's a great way to learn about robotics and AI together. In addition to that, we also have something called Vexcode VR. So a lot of you mentioned that you're trying out Python and you're trying out C++. So Vexcode VR here stands for virtual robots. It's an online robotics and coding tool. It's free to use. There's also a paid version, but all of you can just go to vr.vex.com, and you can see virtual robots. You can drive them and you can program them in a virtual environment. So an amazing tool to use and to get started. So even if you don't have a physical robot, no problem, you can start right now, and it's free to get started. So vr.vex.com. And you've got various different robots and various different virtual spaces. So there's underwater robot, there's life on Mars, there's learning about maths and sciences and languages, but also the competition robots focus. Okay, so that's me coming to the end of the presentation. I'm going to keep the next 10 minutes for Q&A. So start thinking about your questions, start putting them in the chat, or you can also raise your hand and ask questions. So while I'm summarizing in the next 2 minutes, start thinking of your questions. Key takeaway is don't just use AI and robots, but partner with them and collaborate with them to create and solve problems. Play more. So, experiment, tinker, ask questions, and embrace the unknown. Don't fear failure. Don't fear making mistakes. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. And I would suggest that in this day and age, all of you on the phone. So, of course, a lot of us sometimes end up doom scrolling on Instagram or TikTok, etc. But while you're doing that, maybe try to learn one thing new every week. I'm not saying every day. Learn one thing new every week, which is going to be helping you personally or professionally or helping your community. And lastly, in the age of AI, human skills are what will actually differentiate us. So don't become reliant on AI and robots, but work with them, but also become and focus more on your human skills like communication, collaboration, empathy, creativity, etc. So I'll leave you with this quote to think about is that the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. This is by Alvin Toffler. He wrote a series of books, and one of them is called Future Shock. If you get a chance to read it or listen to the audiobook, do that. So that's all from my end. We're going to move to questions and answers. Thank you so much for being a great audience, and thank you for the university to organize these expert lecture series and inviting me to present. I'm going to stop my screen share and look at the chat now. Okay.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mo, right, for your wonderful presentations. Okay, everyone. For next sessions will be Q&A session. If you guys have all the question about presentation from Mr. Mo Qureshi, you can use a chat too, and will be the answer. Okay, everyone. Yeah, Mr. Mo. I think I have a question first for me for the opening question. That's I'm interested with facts robotics, especially that's uh, your works in the education, and that is very near for us being here. That's we are in the university. The students have learned robotics, and also we have the course robotic course. That's the course name is industrial robotics, or we can use the facts environment as, or you have that environment maybe that can we can use to support our courses or maybe the student for learn in the facts robotics.
Thank you for your question. Just so that I understand it clearly, you said you would want to know more about how the VEX tools can be used at the university in your courses and for students to learn. There are many different ways that we can assist. We've got different hardware and software tools. So VEX Code VR is one of them, which is a software tool that you can use using any computer to program robots and design robots in a virtual environment. We also have, I would say, three different physical robots that you can use. Something called VEX V5, which is a metallic robot that comes with different parts. So wheels, gears, metal beams, shafts, but also it has a microcontroller that you can program with Python and C++. It also comes with an AI vision sensor. So students can actually learn how to create and construct their own robot and also program that. The same robot can also be used for the competitions that we organize. That's one. The second is we have the VEX CTE. So CTE is the robotic arm, which stands for Career and Technical Education. And this is great for students to learn about warehousing, automation, logistics, how all of this world happens. It has conveyor belts, serpentine belts, etc. And the third one is we've also recently launched a Vex Air, which is a drone. It's a programmable drone for education. So learning about aerodynamics, learning about flying, learning about 3D spaces. So these are the four tools that you can use: VexCode VR, Vex Air, CTE, and V5 for using in the classroom and outside. I'm more than what we'll do is I'll also ask Enda, who's here on the call, to share his details, and David, who will directly message you if he's on the call with his contact details, and we can share some more resources with you. They're both based out of Jakarta, so they can, more than happy to come over and also give you a demo and the students.
Yeah.
So I hope that helps, and we do have a lot of events and competitions. The new events will be happening in a few months. So if you're available, we'd love to invite you to come and see and experience the competitions also.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Qureshi. That's, I think, very will be help us if we can apply that for next semester for this robotic courses will be open in next semester. I think a lot of students will be exciting if we can use that tools.
Absolutely. And if you can also give us your, if you can direct message your
Yeah,
WhatsApp phone number and email address, and we can be in touch.
yeah. I will maybe we can catch up later for this course or something else.
Of course. Yeah. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions, anyone?
Yeah, I think there's from uh, there's raise hand from our student. That is Alain Kalhamdi. Ask your question.
Okay, thank you for your opportunity to. Okay, so my name is Alek Alhamdi. I'm a student of automation engineering class of 2025. Uh, I'm a I have involved in FACS before, FACS robotics. During my high school, I have uh, read and tried FACS, uh, FACS learning and learned how robotics works. And in my high school, I'm involved in FIRST Robotics, which is similar to FACS, yeah. FIRST Robotics, and I have gone to Switzerland to compete with other nations. Okay, so uh, it's an amazing opportunity to see someone from FACS himself. Thank you very much. Yeah. So my question is, uh, how do we as a student can use AI in this current age effectively? So as you can see, so many students use ChatGPT uh, too often. If you and it's some people say it's pretty how do you say it? Pretty weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
No,
people just some people say that current students don't think for themselves anymore. They just copy paste to ChatGPT and then the AI will do the rest. Yeah. How do we as a student can use AI effectively uh, without while still having our critical thinking and problem solving uh, still still intact? Thank you.
got it. No, very good question, Alaikal. I think I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Great to know that you've participated in VEX and other robotics competitions when you were in high school, and you've had a very positive experience. And I'm sure that also impacted your decision around what you're studying and what you want to do in terms of your career. And thank you for joining this webinar. In terms of the question of how you can use AI effectively, I think is the same point for me is don't rely on AI for the thinking. Don't outsource your thinking. We have great brains, all of us, so we should use that, but use it as a companion. So first think of the questions, think about what you want to explore, etc., and then work with the right AI tool. It could be ChatGPT, it could be Gemini, Claude, etc. That's number one. And the second is we are still using a lot of AI only for asking questions and getting answers. I think we need to move to also creating with AI. So if you use Claude, if you use some other tools, it's very easy to now create a simple website. It's very easy to create an app or a prototype. It's very easy to create interactive worlds. So also try creating some other things with it. That would be the second thing is don't use it just as a Q&A mechanism and a chatbot, but actually start creating different tools around it. And it could be something fun. Maybe you want to create an interactive video. Maybe you want to create different music or sound. Maybe you want to create a different chatbot. Maybe you want to build an app. So it could be for entertainment, and that's fine. It doesn't always have to be something practical, but sometimes when you're having fun, you learn a lot more. So I would say these two things. One is don't outsource your thinking, and the second is start creating new tools and resources, even as a hobby, till you stumble upon something that you actually definitely want to use. The other is also be conscious when you're using AI. Is be aware that uh, it can make mistakes. It'll not always give you the correct answers. So use another tool or just do your old school research on Google or ask it for references and then read those references also. So these will be the 3 points that I would say. I hope that's helpful. We can take one more question if someone wants to ask another question.
Everybody, if there are any question.
Excuse me, I want to ask something, but there is a camera trouble here, so I can't open the camera.
That's
Okay,
okay.
I want to say that you said that the one of the fastest grow skills is analytical thinking. And then the second you said that we can't use AI as a problem solving. So I want to ask, how do you think we can keep them balanced? Like still balanced with analytical thinking and use AI with solve problems? Thank you.
Good question. Thank you for that. See, analytical thinking uh, is, of course, when you are thinking, logically, computationally, etc. And the way I would use any chat tools is, let's say if you look at a problem, let's say if you're something curious about it, and you don't fully understand it, maybe you can ask the AI tool to explain it to you. Maybe you can ask it to explain it to you in a different format, not as a text. You could say, hey, can you explain this to me as if I'm a 5-year-old or I'm an 8-year-old? Or could you explain this if you're explaining it to my grandma or my grandfather? So in a very simple way, you could ask it to explain it to you in a more visual format. So it can create a video or a series of infographics or images around it. If you haven't used, there's a tool called Notebook LLM that I really like. It's by Google, where you can actually upload PDFs or different resources, and it can convert that into a short podcast. So you can listen to it in an audio format instead of reading. So, so yeah, partly is asking the right questions and also realizing that lead with your curiosity and not the other way around. So once again, don't go for just finding the answers and just copying those answers. If it gives you some answers, maybe investigate more. Is ask it follow-up questions, go to other tools to find that. And that's how you would find the balance. So it's not about the tool, it's more about how you're going to think and how you use your curiosity. Um, that would be the core point that you would lose in terms of balancing out your analytic thinking, but also not outsourcing your thinking to any of the chat tools out there. Okay, so we are on time. So I'm going to hand it back to the moderator. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. And I've left my contact details. Feel free to drop me an email if you have further questions. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you, but also some of you joining our competitions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed Qureshi and Fax Robotics for the special lecture that gives to us. That is very wonderful, and I think it's very interesting. And at the end of these sessions, maybe before we end, we will take a documentation first. So everyone, please on your camera, and so we can take a picture and share our documentation. Okay, maybe operator, you can help us for this documentation session. Okay, maybe I will. Okay, everyone ready? I will count to 1, 2, 3, cheers. Okay, maybe we can. Yes, Mr. Mo, we have to post that our uni faculty, that is the fee, that is meaning that's vocational faculty. So maybe we can post like this.
Like this?
Yeah, it's fee.
Okay.
That's fee. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Okay, everyone. 1, 2, 3, cheers. Yeah, okay, thank you, everyone. And maybe before we will give you a handover the certificate for being our guest for this session. Maybe operator can display the certificates. Operator, can you share screen the certificate? Okay, this is Mr. Mo Qureshi for our certificates. We will send it to you. Unfortunately, we can meet in here directly, but I hope next time we can move. We can meet in this department. Thank you very much. And that's all, everyone, for our session for this guest lecture from Mr. Mo Qureshi from Vex Robotics. We're glad you can give us. So we'll say thank you very much for your time, for your lecture that give to us. And I'm from Department of Electrical Automation. We'll end this session, and thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And yes, looking forward to hopefully meeting in person. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes, have a good day.